Welcome to the Career Suite, where we focus on driving your future forward. I'm Helen G. Sneed, CEO, wife, mother, and philanthropist. So join me for career conversations inside the suite. You'll be glad you did. Ready to drive your future forward? Then you're in the right place. Let's step inside the Career Suite, where career conversations begin with you. Welcome to the suite, and thank you for joining me today. In episode 11, we discussed the importance of checking for 3 things before leaving the house: your cell phone, keys, and wallet, as well as their workplace equivalents, the company's mission, your department's goals, and a pay-for-performance system. As we delve deeper into the topic of performance, consider your most recent automobile purchase. Just like your car came with a vehicle owner's manual as a guide for maintenance and optimal performance, think of today's conversation as a similar resource for your own performance. Consider your employee handbook as a way to navigate your career GPS and achieve ideal performance. This brings me to the question we're discussing in the suite today. Do you fully understand the contents of your employee handbook and know who to go to for questions and clarification? Hopefully you requested a copy of or access to the employee handbook during the interview process. You may have casually skimmed through it or focused on a section or two such as compensation or benefits. Every organization is unique, and not all employee handbooks are created equally. Unfortunately, you might be working for an organization that doesn't have an employee handbook, which makes this episode even more valuable. One of your goals is understanding the company's policies, procedures, and expectations. By reading and understanding the employee handbook, you can ensure that you know the rules and guidelines you need to follow while working there. This will help to minimize misunderstandings or mistakes that could cost you money, your job, or your reputation. If there's no employee handbook or it hasn't been updated in the last 12 months, then you've just increased the likelihood of not meeting expectations. A well-designed employee handbook will provide you with valuable information about your rights, shared responsibilities, and benefits as an employee, as well as details about how to handle various situations that might arise in the workplace. And believe me, if you work with human beings, sooner or later, something will come up. Reading the employee handbook is essential in becoming a knowledgeable, well-informed, and responsible team member. Okay, story time in this episode. I was interviewing a candidate a few years ago. We'll call him Stan, and he applied for an entry-level management position. The company provided a generous paid time off package. It included FMLA, short-term disability, long-term disability, and the base salary was $3,000 less than the local competitor, who didn't offer short or long-term disability. You guessed it, Stan declined our offer. 11 months later, Stan needed surgery and was out of work for 8 weeks. Stan wasn't with the competitor long enough to earn his regular rate of pay during the first 6 weeks. And without short-term disability, he didn't receive 60% of his pay while on leave either. Stan had 2 weeks of pay and then found himself 6 weeks without pay. Stan's financial loss was at least $7,500. Stan's situation isn't uncommon. I read complaints every day on Facebook about employees not understanding their benefits or people not having a financial safety net. Accidents, sports injuries, and sudden illness happen all the time. No one has a crystal ball. However, understanding the full suite of benefits your employee offers or doesn't offer and how they all work together is essential. Illness, accidents, and family growth are commonplace. Being prepared is the next best thing to a crystal ball. That's why your employee handbook and knowing who to go to ask questions and seek clarification are critical. Today we have take 3. 3 takeaways. Number 1, take the time to learn and understand your employee handbook. And number 2, know who to go to with questions and seek clarification on topics you aren't familiar with. And number 3, be prepared and plan for life to happen by keeping up to date on changes and having a financial safety net. If you're wondering which person to seek out for questions, start with the HR department, whether there's an HR manager, director, or business partner. If there isn't an HR person, meet with your immediate supervisor. And if you are the immediate supervisor, that means you need to have a solid understanding of the employee handbook because your team may come to you and they rely on you for your insight and experience. And third, connect with senior level management and operations. So during the interview process, find out who to go to, obtain a copy of the employee handbook, and make sure you go over it during your first week of employment. And every 6 months or whenever there's an update, make sure you're aware of what that update is. The better you understand the company's policies, procedures, and expectations, the more valuable you'll become to the team, the department, and the organization. If you need help understanding, updating, or designing an employee handbook, email me and include your name and the organization to ceo@thecareersuite.com. Join me again for episode number 13 as we close out season 1 and 2023 and begin to prepare for season 2. We'll kick off season number 2 in 2024 with a brand new logo, and we'll focus on 6 areas of HR that every organization needs to consider. I'm Helen G. Sneed. Join me again in the Career Suite, where I promise to save you a seat. You'll be glad you did.